Hi and welcome to my channel, An All Seasons Homestead. Today I'm going to be canning some cranberry juice and some healthy cranberry sauce. For several years now, I've been stocking up on fresh cranberries around the holidays. I usually put bags of cranberries straight into the freezer and use it little by little or recipe by recipe, but I also can some. I seem to crave cranberries, juice, and sauce mostly in the summertime. They are so refreshing, so I really keep a lookout during this time of the year. I usually find cranberries for about $1, and they're in these little mesh bags. One year I was right on time getting a good deal, about 50 cents a bag. I wasn't so lucky this year. You want to start by washing all of your berries, especially if they're in those mesh bags. You wash them really well, and then you'll cover them with water, just enough to cover the top of the cranberries. I put them on high heat because it takes a while to get going, and then I fill up my water bath canner. I'm using this simple juice recipe from my Ball Blue book. You want to bring the berries to a boil, then reduce the heat a little and cook until the berries burst. I tried to record the sound of cranberries popping. I find it really fun in case you've never cooked cranberries and heard the noise, but I just couldn't get there just in time to start recording. You want to make sure that you get your canning supplies ready before you start, or maybe during the warming up process. I think I grabbed 7 quarts and my lids. I put my lids in some water, and I'll turn those on a low heat later. And I got my jars washed up with hot soapy water and a clean rag. There are times where I will boil my cans in water or even put them in the oven to sterilize them, but I found with just really hot water, it works just fine for me. These are the basic canning tools I'll be using today. I have my jar lifter, my little magnetic lid lifter, and my headspace measuring tool. Now there are different ways to strain the cranberries. I've done a couple of different ways. My Ball Blue book says to strain the berries through a cheesecloth. And I know that you can hang your cloth with the berries inside for several hours to drain all of the juice. But then you have to make sure that you heat your juice back up to 190. I found that this is just the quickest way for me, is just to put it through a metal strainer, and you'll work the juice out. And I don't mind a little pulp in there. I actually kind of like that. And I don't mind that my berries still have a little juice left in them, because I'll also be making the sauce. It took a lot less time just ladling it out, putting it in the mesh, well, I guess it's a metal mesh strainer. I think it just took me maybe 15 or 20 minutes. And I mean, if you put it in a cheesecloth and let it drain and walk away, I mean, you can still save your time, do something else while it's draining. But I also wanted to get the sauce going also. And I didn't want to leave the berries hanging in a location for a while. I just wanted to get this canning process done. So you just want to make sure that your juice is back up to about 190 degrees before you pour it into your jars. And I'm doing quarts today. It's pretty concentrated. I like the juice to be thick, but I usually add a little water when I open them up just to tone the flavor down for the kids a little bit. I think some people say they put about 1 pint of juice concentrate to 1 quart of water, but I really think it just depends on your preference of how strong you like the juice or not. And also, you can add the sugar. If you want sugar, you can add just about any amount of sugar to your juice when you get around the 190 point before you pour it into your jars. But I do not put any sugar at all. I don't even put honey in it. I just can the straight juice, and then if we want to add honey to it when we open it up, then that is also an option. I think my blue ball book says to fill up to 1/4 inch headspace. But I've also read another recipe that said 1 inch headspace. And it looks like right there I did a 1 inch. So I must have forgotten and have done the other recipe instead of the blue ball book. I really don't remember in the past which one I did, whether it was the 1/4 inch or the 1 inch. So hopefully that works out well for me. There's really not much to canning cranberry juice. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You just wash, cook, strain, heat back up with or without sugar. Then you can it up and process it. For the sauce that I'm going to can, I just use my cooked cranberries, and I use 1 can of preferably mashed pineapples. And then I usually use applesauce, but today I'm using my canned pear sauce. Whenever I use mashed pineapple, I can just use the masher, and I like the chunky consistency. But since these were chunked pineapple, I was having kind of a hard time with the masher. It was just taking a while, so I got out my immersion blender so it could get a lot smoother and creamier. And you can make sauce whatever consistency you like, whatever texture. You can leave it chunky, or you can really blend it up and make it smooth. I'm not that picky. I like it all ways. Today I'm just going to can it, those 3 ingredients, but there's also been times where I've put some spices in it, cloves and things like that, but I really like this fresh, simple sauce because, like I said, I eat it all summer long. It's just very fresh and hydrating, and then when I open up a can, I'll usually put just a little bit of honey in it. So I don't can it with sugar, I don't can it with honey, I just leave it very straightforward and simple. And for this year, for Christmas, I already had this all canned up. So I didn't even have to make any fresh for our Christmas meal. I just opened up a can and then I added some honey to it. And that made Christmas morning a lot easier. Just one less thing to do, one less pot and pan to cook or to wash. And also I went to the store and I didn't even see any more bags. So I didn't even have an option of making some fresh cranberries on Christmas morning because they were just all sold out. At least they were in the store I went to. So it turned out I had 4 quarts of sauce and just 3 quarts of the juice, but it is very concentrated. So the last step is once your water gets to boil, you're going to process your pints and quarts of both juice and sauce for 15 minutes. So as the water heats up, I'm just going to get the kitchen cleaned, and I had just enough sauce left over for a little snack. So I just put that in a little bowl for later and got to work on cleaning up the kitchen. And I already had my water bath canner going while I was cooking the cranberries and canning them up. So it didn't take too long for my water to get to the boiling point. So comment below, have you ever canned cranberry sauce? Have you canned juice? Do you even like cranberries? Do you like it smooth or do you like it chunky? Do you like it with or without sugar? And will you try it this year if you've never tried it before? My blue ball blue book, it also has a side note here. It says, if clear juice is desired, let strained juice stand for 24 hours in the refrigerator. So that's just a little side note, little preference. But like I said, I like my juice a little bit thick. I like the pulp in it, if that's even what you call it. I know that, oranges have pulp, but cranberries have a little bit of, I guess is what you call it, pulp, right? So I like that little thickness to it. And like I said, you can just add some water if it's too thick for you, or do the side note in the book and it says just let it stand there for a while, for 24 hours. So here I'm just setting my timer to 15 minutes because my water is at a boil. And I have my kitchen cleaned up. And then I'm going to remove my jars one by one and just let it stand on the towel. I usually just leave my jars there overnight. And then in the morning I will check to see if they've sealed, if the lid gives me a nice pop. And then I'll put them away. I'll take off the rings and I'll put them in the pantry. And I believe the next day when I put them away, I don't remember having any that didn't seal. They all turned out very nicely. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.